You are Locked On Lakers POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
For the Lakers, as Luka starts off slow, LeBron takes over the second quarter. Luka gets sick at halftime, but comes through when the Lakers need him most. But it wasn't enough as the Lakers failed to put points up on the board at the end. It was all Minnesota as Minnesota takes the swing game in Game 3 tonight in Minnesota. Final score 116-104. They now lead the best of 7 series, 2-1. So again, very frustrating night for the Lakers. It's tough to take this loss. My name is Dave Palet. I appreciate you joining me tonight. Again, you can follow me on social media right there, of course, where my name is, on every single platform. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. That being said, I'd like to get to your comments as well throughout the show. If you're new to the show, my history is covering this Lakers team as a broadcaster for years, from the early 90s through the mid-2000s, around 2005, 2006, as far as press credential media member. And again, love this Laker team, but not tonight. Tonight, very frustrating to see what happened to this Laker team because it seemed like the opportunities were there. The Lakers, once they got over the hump, gave it right back to Minnesota. And I think it becomes one of those situations where, as a Laker fan, you have to be a little frustrated to say who's to blame. And look, their superstars are going to have bad days. We see it all the time, right? Superstars are going to have bad days. And we've talked about this many times that Luka is in a situation where he tries to set the tone. So whatever is everyone going to be talking about? I think there are going to be a few things Laker fans are going to be talking about until the next game, which again is Sunday at 12:30 Pacific time. It's an ABC game. So if you normally watch that game on a local Laker television, that's not where you're going to see it. It's going to be a nationally televised game. But let's get to what people were going to be talking about when we talk about Game 3.
This is what you'll be talking about.
We've discussed this before. About Luka and how the Lakers and JJ Redick has Luka basically take over the first quarter. Well, the problem is when you put all your eggs in one basket with Luka taking over the first quarter and trying to set the tone that way, when he doesn't have it and he doesn't do well, it basically causes a major problem. The Lakers are playing from behind. Well, that's exactly what happened today. I mean, the Lakers, again, you don't think Minnesota knows that, hey, let's focus on stopping Luka. Luka obviously wasn't well health-wise because he got sick later on. It didn't just start at halftime. Luka obviously wasn't feeling well. There should have been a different plan of attack. This is something JJ Redick should have fixed. And remember, it was Luka that struggled. He was 1 of 6 to start the game in the first quarter. Only had 2 points. So the games that we've watched in the past where Luka has 16 points in the first quarter or 14 points in the first quarter to kind of set the tone, when you have a player that's a guy you depend on to go out and do the same thing when it's obviously not working. This is what we talked about before, about getting players on this team involved earlier, guys like the Austin Reaves, the LeBron James, the Reaves, anyone who starts that game, you get them involved offensively outside of a Jackson Hayes who basically is there just for lob passes. And so for the Lakers, they look around and they go, we're struggling. What are we going to do? And for the Lakers, they were very, very fortunate to only be down by 6 after the first quarter, 32-26, when your star player is only 1 for 6 from the field, and he only has 2 points at the end of the quarter. Lakers also had 5 turnovers in the first quarter. So, again, this goes back to the head coach, JJ Redick. I can sit there and point the finger at Luka, but I'm not pointing the finger at Luka because he's doing the way this team is set up, and it's set up this way through JJ Redick, where this has happened all season long, before Luka was even on the team. Right? Turnovers are always way too high. Missed free throws are obviously ridiculous. And that's what happened. And we talked about this in December and January and February. Leading into it, when are the Lakers going to turn the tables and say, this is what's important? And you got to cut down on the turnovers. Championship teams, they cut down on the turnovers. Today, turnovers turned into 28 points for Minnesota. And going, okay, well, it was only a matter of time. The free throws the other night, the Lakers are perfect. They were outstanding. Okay, so you go, we lost this game 116-104, and you start looking at what can you have done a little bit different. Well, the team missed, free throws. And you say, well, how many free throws did they miss? Well, they missed 7. They turned the ball over to give them basically 28 points. They're outscored in the paint by more than 30 points. And it was there. You basically gift wrapped this game for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Also, there are other things you can point the finger at. Is this the right rotation for JJ Redick, because when you look at the amount of minutes and understand it's playoff time and you want your guys to play the most minutes, look, Luka being sick played 40 minutes tonight. Austin Reaves, he played 41. LeBron played 41. We talk about how deep this bench is supposed to be. Well, who did you rely on? Outside of Dorian Finney-Smith, who had 29 points, where were the other guys? Where was the contribution? This Laker team bench-wise tonight, it was bad. Dorian Finney-Smith with 8. Jared Vanderbilt with 3. All right, that's 11 right there. Gabe Vincent had 5. That's 16. And then Jordan Goodwin had another 3. That's all. That's all you had. So you go, well, what else do you have on the bench? I will say it over and over again. When you have a shooter like Dalton Knecht, why isn't Dalton Knecht in the game, especially when you have other guys who are not knocking down threes? And a lot of guys were not knocking down threes tonight. It was not a good three-point shooting night for the Lakers. Okay, that basically you had 2 guys that were nailing threes on a consistent level. That was LeBron and that was Austin Reaves. LeBron was 5 of 9. Austin Reaves was 5 of 11. Luka was 2 of 8. Dalton Knecht has been very good from three-point range. This was a game here where when you had the lead, you maybe could have expanded the lead. And when you're trying to play catch-up, maybe it's a time to stick him in. But when you're sitting there looking at the guys that you have that can knock down three-pointers, Gabe Vincent off the bench normally can do it. Gabe Vincent tonight only shot 2 3-pointers. He only made 1 of them. And so what is this team about? What is the NBA about right now? The NBA is about 3-point shots all the time. Now, Minnesota is one of those teams that does not shoot a ton of them. But when I sit and I look at the best teams in the league, meaning Oklahoma City, and I look at the Boston Celtics, they're all about knocking down 3-pointers. They can do it. And so the Lakers, for the first time in what seems like forever, when we said, man, I wish we had a shooter, right? How many times did you wish that you had like a Kyle Korver or that you had a JJ Redick? That's odd, right? To go, we wish we had a JJ Redick on the team to sit there and hopefully help us out. So it becomes very frustrating overall that this Laker team lost tonight. Again, that we talked about it after game 2. The odd games are the big games in every series, right? Game 1, the team that has the advantage. Game 3, the team that switches the series if you're tied. Game 5, game 7, okay? It's the odd games that you want to win. When it feels like you're chasing all the time and you aren't setting a tone in the series, it becomes extremely frustrating. And that's basically where this Laker team was tonight. And so very frustrating to see that the Lakers not only lose 160-104, the fact they couldn't score basically the second half of the fourth quarter was amazing. Embarrassing and amazing. But the Lakers were in this thing and their game was there. If the Lakers got blown out tonight by 50, it would be a lot easier to sit here and not be upset. But the fact that the Lakers were in this and leading, and then to sit there and give it away and to be embarrassed and humiliated, and now you have to get ready for game 4 to hopefully even the series out, frustrating. Remember, the Lakers were the higher seed when the series began. The Lakers were the team that was supposed to set the tone on the way this whole thing went. So, again, frustrating the way it worked out. We're going to take some of your comments as well. I appreciate you joining me on a Friday night. But Lakers lose 116-104. And we'll get to our sponsor real quick. Want to mention the people over at Monarch Money. Look, have you ever checked your bank account and wonder where did all your money go between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment? It's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility to control your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's also a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you don't just stop by, you sit there, you stop by and you manage your money. You manage your money and you start building wealth. Look, with surprising insights, Monarch Money will point things out to you you weren't even aware of. When I started using Monarch Money, I realized how much I was spending on simple stuff like even food delivery, how I was able to budget smarter and save more. It was very convenient, and it's easy as well to manage your money with your partner. Of course, it is smoother than ever, and you can track shared personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. All right, so again, final score tonight, 116-104. Lakers lose. We'll get to some of your comments. Again, what are you frustrated by? What do the Lakers have to do different to turn this series around? It's been a tough night. I'm frustrated. Want to know what you think as well. Here, Craig, always good to see you. Always the first one on. Craig, Lakers, they didn't come through in the clutch. Craig also says Reaves and Luka, they have to do a little bit better. Again, Reaves has been in the league. He's a veteran. I understand that. But Reaves still doesn't have the cachet that a LeBron has, that a Luka has. He has to kind of fall in line. And that's the way it goes. Daniel says we suck. We don't suck. We just don't play up to, I think, our capabilities, meaning what the Lakers are supposed to do. And I say we because I know all of you guys feel the same thing I do. It always feels like a we. All right. So it becomes frustrating when you look at the amount of turnovers when you're giving away free points. It becomes frustrating when you're giving up shots in the paint. When you're talking about over and over again that the Lakers are giving up easy baskets to the Timberwolves. It's a very frustrating night overall. And so when you sit there and go, who are you going to point the finger at? Some of you are going to say Luka. For me, I say JJ Redick. I think JJ Redick has done a fantastic job in his first year as the head coach of the NBA. At the same time, I expect a little bit more. And I'm not sure what the process is as far as the Lakers go and fixing things for Sunday. I do expect the Lakers to win on Sunday. I think they're going to make some adjustments, but can the Lakers put back-to-back wins together in this series? The team that puts back-to-back wins together in the series is going to win the series. And that's right. That means if Minnesota wins on Sunday, Minnesota is going to win the series. Lakers have to even this thing up. It's going to go further than we want. We want to hold, obviously, the superstars back in minutes, and you want to advance through the playoffs. Right now, you just want to advance through the first round. If you look at this series, and let's say the Lakers lose this series to Minnesota, how do you look back at the season? Does the season fall to a disappointment, or is the season still considered a success? Very, very irritating to see that the Lakers are in this boat right now, that 3 games in, the Lakers are losing this series 2-1. So, again, we talked about what happens with Luka, and you can sit there and you can draw up excuses. Look, the only thing that matters is the final score. You can sit there and talk about Luka being sick. You can talk about turnovers, points in the paint. It's the final score and adjustments. Can you make adjustments? Look, Anthony Edwards right now is playing like a man on a mission. Anthony Edwards is playing for legacy. And it's funny, we see that word a lot lately, especially when you watch the NFL draft and you're looking at Shedeur Sanders, who has legacy all over the place. Well, whereas that left Shedeur, still not even drafted as we do the show today. Well, where does it leave the Lakers right now? We look at the legacy. LeBron has his championships. He wants a 5th one. Luka needs that first one. The Lakers should be hungry. But right now, when I'm looking at guys on the court, I see Minnesota, and they're playing with their hair on fire right now. Jaden McDaniels right now is making a name for himself. Julius Randle came out on fire for Minnesota when they needed him most. And if you look at Anthony Edwards, man, when he sees LeBron in front of him, he is doing everything he can to take the crown off the King's head. And so it is frustrating to see where we're at, and that is the magic word tonight, right, is frustrating. Lakers, again, continue to struggle. Fourth quarter was the most amazing thing to see happen to this team as we figured the Lakers had a chance. The Lakers, again, did not play well coming out of the half. Maybe they were caught off guard when Luka wasn't able to basically go 100%. And then when Luka was able to return, he made some big shots. But at the same time, you're concerned, like, is Luka going to leave the floor? The Lakers have struggled after the half over and over again. And it's not just here. We've seen it happen many times when they're facing teams that are considered playoff teams. So, again, it's adjustments made, and you wonder what are those speeches that are being said by JJ Redick and his staff. But the Lakers played well in the second quarter, and you can thank LeBron James for having 22 points after 2, and he stepped up when Luka wasn't doing well. And LeBron, again, at age 40, has basically been what you want. We need the other guys to sit there and step up as well. So it's not just LeBron, it's not just Austin Reaves, and it's not Rui, it's not anyone else. The stars get things done when this time counts. LeBron was able to step up and get something done tonight. Everyone else didn't. So to figure things out here right at the end, in case you're trying to figure out what happened with the Lakers, or you turned in late and you're just trying to get up to date of what happened. Look, with 2:20 remaining in the game, the Wolves went up by 7. Anthony Edwards layup, 1:06 remaining. Anthony Edwards hit a big 3 to give the Wolves a 114-104 lead. It was basically over because the Wolves were an 11-1 run. 11-1 run. Lakers hadn't made a basket up at that point in the last 4 minutes of the game. The Wolves, again, dominated the Lakers in the paint and through turnovers. And so that's where the frustrating part comes in. Overall, looking at the Wolves, you got to tip your hat, and I hate that when you tip your hat to another team. But Jaden McDaniels, with his 30 points, and Anthony Edwards with his 29 points, and Julius Randle with his 22, that was a ton. but they also had guys that came off the bench for them that scored in double digits as well. And that's something the Lakers didn't have and something the Lakers need to improve on, as, again, nobody on the bench scored in double digits. So Lakers frustrating. Again, down 2-1. They'll have a day to think about it before they come back on Sunday, and we'll figure out exactly what the Lakers do. But I expect the Lakers to win this game on Sunday. I think they make the adjustment. The thing is, can they not only make the adjustment for game 4, can they make the adjustment for the rest of the series? All right, let's get to our Locked On Player of the Game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Easy to give it to somebody on Minnesota. As I said before, I hate giving the Locked On Player of the Game to somebody on another team. Look, Jaden McDaniels is making a name for himself. It's pretty impressive. And Anthony Edwards, everyone knows who he is, and really one of the best young stars in the NBA, and he'll be around for years and years. But for me, I'm going with the old man. I'm going LeBron James. LeBron James was the only one that the Lakers could rely on. In 41 minutes, he had 38 points. He had 10 rebounds. He had 4 assists. And LeBron only had 1 turnover. Usually it's LeBron. When the Lakers have turnovers, it's LeBron is the one that has a ton of them. LeBron didn't. LeBron only had 1 turnover tonight. So LeBron hit those 3 3-pointers, which was exciting as can be, and it looked like he was going to will the Lakers to a win. Wasn't able to do it. But tonight, LeBron James is my Locked On Player of the Game. Look, I'm going to be back with you on Sunday, right after the game. Again, it's a 12:30 tip-off. It's a nationally televised game. I hope you guys will join me. I know many of you right now had 2 TVs going, as I always get messages that you guys are watching the Dodgers, watching the Lakers. As we do this, unfortunately, the Dodgers lose as well. Good news is Paul Skeens will be a Dodger in 5 years, so we have that to look forward to. Lakers lose tonight, 116-104 to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 3. We will see you on Sunday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me tonight and throughout the season. Again, we'll be better on Sunday, guarantee it.